I was exactly where you are now. I hit all the right books, classes, and conferences on Agile and leadership, but I wasn't changing mindsets. It took me almost a decade of study with elite performers in every arena to formulate the 4-pillar framework of vision, focus, resilience, and adaptability that I want to share with you now. I want you to skip the mistakes and go straight to the results. Imagine the feeling of making real impact with leaders and your peers and getting predictable results with your teams. The Forge picks up where regular training leaves off, making you an uncommon Agile leader. And you can apply your skills and start getting results right away. So join us in the Forge. Click the link below in the show notes. Now recruiting for the fall cohort. My friends, welcome back. Thank you for joining another episode of Badass Unscripted. This week, I want to revisit the idea that what you seek to avoid will find you. In my experience, the things that you avoid, whether it's because that thing scares you, maybe you believe you're not good at it, maybe you believe it's too hard, what you avoid will find you. Put simply, those things will keep coming up and biting you in the butt. If you're unable to face and conquer your discomfort, those things will continue to cause pain in your career, your happiness, your relationships, your personal life. So as a philosophy, we have to embrace the idea that the things that make us uncomfortable are teachers, they're lessons. Whether we choose to accept them is up to us. How many people do you know, have you seen, who have clear gaps, clear areas where their skill set isn't great? Great example with me, I'm a guitar player. I can play real fast up the scale, up the neck, but when I go backwards, downwards, descending, I'm way slower. And because I'm way slower, I don't do it because I'm not that good at it. And I like being fast. I like being good. So I don't do the things that I suck at because I don't like admitting or facing the fact that I suck and I have work to do. But if I avoid it forever, guess what happens? I will never get better at it. And those tools, those skills, those abilities aren't in my toolkit. They're not accessible to me. I can't use them. So what about you? In what areas do you know you suck and fail to get after it? Or worse, you suck, but you don't know you suck. Well, how would you know? Well, generally, if you have a negative, knee-jerk reaction to something you're being asked to do, something that you're going through, something that you're forced to deal with or handle, and your immediate reaction is anger, despair, you want to quit, you try to pawn it off onto someone else, you make a lot of excuses as to why you're not good at it, why you don't have to do it, those could be signs. So let's imagine that you're really great at managing the Scrum process, but you struggle with technical complexities. So anytime an architect walks into a room and unrolls a diagram and sticks it on the wall, you get frustrated. Why do we have to care about this? This doesn't matter. Can't someone else just deal with this? Just tell me what I need to know. When you get a bit itchy under the collar, when you start dismissing other people or ideas, trying to skip around or avoid a certain kind of conversation, examination, and the excuse that you make is that you just don't have time. Could it be possible that you don't have time because you're not good at understanding this stuff? You don't like looking deep into the weeds. You don't want to accidentally find things that invalidate your existing approach or your worldview. Whatever scares you, whatever you shy away from, will find you. Because what happens if you avoid the reality on the ground? If you build something that doesn't mesh with architecture, if you build something that doesn't solve a business problem, you haven't gone deep enough yet. You haven't asked the hard questions. And you'll end up building something that doesn't work, doesn't make your customers happy, destroys trust in the team, destroys trust in the process. And then what will you do? More excuses, blame someone else, fail to see your part in building a product that doesn't work? Could be. So what's required? How do you avoid this? Find those areas of discomfort. If you have a cramp in your foot and then you accidentally bang your head on something when you're trying to unload the dishwasher, you suddenly forget about the cramp in your foot. We live lives of constant anxiety, pressure, and reactivity. Sometimes it can be difficult to know that we're even reacting poorly, to feel that avoidance. So could you just take a deep breath and look backwards on your day? Look backwards on the hour and just notice, is there anything that you had a knee-jerk reaction to that doesn't make sense, defies logic, seems excessive, didn't fit the situation, something that's not like you, something that wasn't very leader-like? When you examine those reactions, you're probably onto something. You're probably close to something. Now, the good news is there's usually a pattern. It rarely happens once, usually happens quite often. So you may detect a pattern over time that points your eye to something that you really need to work on. Can't hurt to ask other people too, how do I show up? And if you got a good set of colleagues, you have people that you trust to give you open and honest feedback, you might be lucky. They might tell you, you're great, you do this well. But anytime someone has an opinion that differs from yours, you storm out of the room. Okay, I didn't know that. Here we have an opportunity to learn and to grow and to fix, to remedy. We could plug that gap. These limitations, however embarrassing they might be to face, are opportunities. It's a welcome mat from the universe saying, if you work on this, if you fix this, you become a 360-degree leader. You become unbreakable, unshakable, unperturbable. That's what we want in our leaders. The kind of certainty that comes not from being able to predict the future, but from being able to weather the storm. That's what people want. If you don't work on it, it's going to bite you. But if you do, it's going to serve you and strengthen you. My friends, thank you as always for being listeners. You can find me on badassagile.com, or you can reach out on Twitter at badass_agile and on Instagram at badassagile. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, stay badass.